What up, everyone? My name is Dylan Walker with Yahoo Esports. I've got Purge here with me. Can you tell me what you're doing here at TI?
I can't yet. I know I haven't been on camera yet. It's like I just came for the free trip, but been practicing on something that we're only going to use at Key Arena. So you'll see me on Monday and probably throughout the rest of the week very often.
Wow, that could be so many different things. I can't even wrap my head around.
I've mostly been working on my tan.
Okay. So, how many TI? Is this your first TI? You've been here a few times, or?
Yeah, this is my fifth TI2 onward. Yeah, I've pretty much always had a job. TI3 was more of like an informal one, but every other TI I've been doing something. I did interviews TI2. I was real bad at that, but it was fun to go. TI4 did newbie stream and groups, just newbie stream mostly. And then last year I did group stage casting and newbie stream.
So the newbie stream is actually kind of a cool offering. I think that a lot of our viewers would be into that. Is it weird trying to like kind of dumb it down a little bit, or layman's terms for Dota? Is there like difficulties there?
Yeah, it's a little different because you have to talk about the things that you just have been out of your mind for years, like the basic things. This is a tower. What is a creep? What are skill points? Like what is experience? What is gold? Like it's those things that you overlook after your second day of Dota, basically. So bringing it back to all that new stuff is definitely a little challenging. But I always really enjoyed doing it, and doing it really made me appreciate the lack of casters that ever do anything remotely aimed to noobs, because all casters are like very afraid. I mean, not all casters obviously, but any of the ones that are below like 5K minimum are very scared of coming off as being a noob themselves or only pandering to those people. Me, I'm not that worried about. Obviously, I'm not a pro level player by any means, but I think there's 20% of the viewer base consistently that's watching a game that doesn't know what the hell's going on, and just pandering, not even pandering, but even throwing in a half sentence like, wow, he's going to get a lot of experience from killing these creeps, which is going to lead to a really nice. I don't know. That's not a good example, but I mean, there's definitely a way you can frame a sentence that can just give you 2 seconds of newbie framed content, and everyone else can just suffer through it for those 2 seconds, and it really helps those 10% enjoy the game and maybe grow a game. So I really feel like there are lots of times where you can push content a little bit more towards that as a caster. So it's definitely taught me a lot.
Okay, so have you been watching group stage?
It's kind of hard in the tanning bed. I have to wear these goggles, and they don't have monitors in there, so I actually haven't watched that many games really. I'm not even kidding about that. It's been hard because all the stuff that we're working on has a lot of like tech things that we've had to work through, and practice and things that I'm not very comfortable with normally. Stuff that I haven't, a presentation style that I'm not really used to. So yeah, there's been a lot of prep and stuff, and usually what we'll do is watch like one game and then use that footage to do practice on that for like 2 hours, and then by then I missed 16 games or something like that. So I've watched some games. Yesterday I got to watch all day, luckily, but most days just a little here or there.
Okay, so what do you think of the bracket now? We have Team Liquid Na'Vi in the lower bracket. We have Wings of Alliance doing really well, EG. I mean, what do you think the outcome is going to be if you were filling out the bracket right now?
I honestly I don't really know. Group stage is very different than elimination matches in a lot of cases. Best of ones are also very unpredictable. So, when we did predictions going into the event, we started this in Manila, where talent would do name your 1 to 16, just best to least, where you think they'll perform. And I think I got top 3 out of all English talent in Manila. I didn't watch as many games going into TI this year, and my bracket looks real bad. I think I got 4 out of 8 of the top 8 that are in winter bracket right now, and for example, I probably put EG like second to last because they had a kind of weak Starlighter performance. I thought that might stick, so I was way off this one. So maybe asking me isn't the best idea, but it could go anyways. It really just depends on little performances here or there. Every team's really close. It's fun to watch.
I mean, so now there are like 100 heroes picked and banned. Do you predict there will be like an actual meta that develops throughout this tournament, like there has been in past TIs?
Yeah, it's kind of happened. I feel like Potom is virtually unchanged from where she was, a month or two ago for Manila qualifiers, and she was picked by everybody there. I think the difference is just like cores have changed a little bit, so the heroes like Lifestealer's not as good right now. So Potom had some trouble against Lifestealer, for example, among other heroes. So there's like a little bit of adjustment here, there, and there always will be. But I would say the big standouts are probably Ogre Potom. Maybe Oracle's actually looking pretty good despite being normally a crap support. Maybe just the hero meta, how people are a lot more familiar with the hero now. They play it really effectively. So lots of stuff like that. yeah, meta always adjusts. It's not super radical right now, but it's definitely there.
I watched your stream with Slacks. You guys were doing your predictions. I kind of based some of mine off of that. Y- you were saying that Elder Titan is like super broken. Why do you feel that way?
It's basically how his aura works. So it reduces your magic resistance to about 0 when it's leveled up to max. So basically, anytime you do magic damage to other titans in the fight, bonus damage there. Same thing for physical, except it's better for physical. If you have a high armor hero, it reduces all of it down to 0. So if you only build agility items, it basically means that all of that armor is wasted. So Morphlings, Terrorblades, illusion-based heroes, it completely counters their survivability. They're basically forced to buy like an AC third item instead of like a Scotty there. So really good against that. Also has great counter initiation with the stomp on like the backline. If you stomp 3 heroes as you initiate, you can win a fight right there. His laning's a little bit weak, but other than that, like just all around really strong support right now. And I looked at win rates for a lot of teams, and almost every team was positive 50% win rate on the hero, and I think he's one of the highest win rates right now.
He is definitely the most picked, most banned right now by far.
Banned and picked? Oh wow. I thought he wouldn't do both, but I put him for most picked or most banned, but I wasn't sure about most picked. But maybe I should have done double both. I knew going in, like he's been very good for a while. I think it's just a little underappreciated, and he's been getting buff after buff, and now teams finally realize like, oh, we can fit him into this role of support, and he's actually really good. Yeah.
So I was interviewing Slacks earlier, and I asked him about your relationship with him, and he said that he hated you at first, and then he thought you were a golf caster. Um,
What's a golf caster?
like a really low key, kind of like how I do interviews, or just like
Okay.
not a lot of energy. But is that true? I mean, what is your relationship like with SirActionSlacks?
Well, the first time I met him, I was at Key Arena, and I was like walking around, and this line formed. Did you tell the story already? Okay, so this line formed. We've told the story before, but I'll tell it for you guys. Line formed, doing signatures. When you're at Key Arena, especially for like any player basically or any popular caster, you can essentially just constantly have a line throughout the whole day. And people would leave my line, and then they would go over to this other guy, and I didn't know who the hell he was. It was SirActionSlacks. They would like piddle off, and like maybe like 25% would stop and talk to him. And naturally, Slacks is a very outgoing, nice guy, so you would talk to them for a while. So basically, we would match lines. And I just like normally when you go to a Dota event, like the community is pretty intertwined. Like we know who everybody is. Everybody loves the game. It's not like you don't get this like negative personalities coming in. So it was very rare that I actually saw somebody that had a line that I didn't recognize. But it's pretty obvious now. He's a very talented guy in very different ways than a lot of other talents. So it's good to see him here. But yeah, definitely it grew slowly. I didn't really start becoming good friends with him until maybe the last year with Moonduck. Basically, I barely knew him before then, but now I would say we're very close. He's one of my best Dota friends now, even if he's a dumbass. Terrible skill builds. Really, he's a good Dota player, but he's a really bad Dota player too. It's weird.
I was expecting more trash talk than that. It was actually pretty good. You got it in at the very end there, just snuck it in. All right, well, I have so much I want to ask you. Like for some reason, you're like my biggest nerd crush here in Dota, just because I feel like you have such a big brain compared to everyone else. But who would you say?
I need the mic. It's not about brain size. It's about. Oh, I don't need to hold it long. It's not about brain size. It's about willingness and practice in verbalizing what you know. All the top players, they know amazing things that blow my mind all the time. It's just I happen to like sharing what I know, oftentimes too much, and a lot of pro players sometimes they want to hold it, sometimes they don't care about that. That's all it is, honestly. There's lots of smart people, and I'm not the smartest by any means. There's tons, like every single Dota player here is like heaps better than me, but it's the ability to talk about it. That's all.
So you're good at expressing it, is what you're trying to say. All right. Well, I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me. For everybody else, this is Yahoo Esports.